My name is Linda. My daughter's name is Chanel. My daughter was a methamphetamine user for about 15 to 20 years of her life. And people always wonder, why don't they go to treatment? Why don't they get help? And the assumption is that people like my daughter don't go to treatment because they just want to keep using. I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe that mothers or fathers or the people that love them tolerate it so long because they're blind, they're just too caught up in codependency, or they simply don't care. Both people, the ones that love the addict and the addict, share another similarity. And the similarity is trying to be in control. My daughter didn't go to treatment because she could remember the times in her life when she was able to control her use. She could remember the times when she was in the abuse stage where she could stop using for long periods of time, go to work, get a job, get her life back on track. And she was pretty sure she could do it again. But the difference between the abuse stage and the addiction stage is that in the abuse stage, you have the luxury. With some help in a detox clinic, you can stop using and go back to life. When you go into the addiction stage, it's a lot more different because now the chemistry in your brain has changed to the point where even when you stop using, you're still imbalanced. And the cravings to use and the desire to feel better because you just feel like garbage even when you're not withdrawing is so hard to pull away from. It's always calling your name. It's not being able to get up in the morning and do your daily task. It's not being able to even hardly function and feeling so depressed and so hopeless that the only way you know how to fix that is by using, and you've tried everything else to fix that feeling and to fix that chemical imbalance in you that the drugs created. Now, on the flip side, parents or the people that love them, they kind of hang on for the same reasons. I hung on to my daughter because I believed there was something that I was doing, there was something I could do, or there's something that I had not thought of yet. So I continuously tried to use every ounce of knowledge, interventions, and everything I could to get my daughter on track and gain some control over this whole crazy mess with the drugs. There was a part of me that was also in denial. Even though I work in the field, I looked at my daughter and I still could not clearly see the signs of addiction until she died. Even though she told me. I thought when she told me, I was like, no, she's not addicted. She's really not. She's still abusing. Because she said, I need to use to feel normal. I said, okay, she's been around a lot of people that's addicted. My daughter's clearly not addicted yet, but she was. So the way that she used denial, the way that she used this bargaining, like if I do this, this is going to help. If I do that, it's going to help. I did the same thing, but I did it with her. And I did it with all the things going on in her life. If I am more loving and compassionate to her, she'll stop using. If I'm firmer with her, and I set very firm, clear boundaries, if I use tough love, she'll stop using. If I sit down with her and I reason with her, she'll stop using. If I take out all the photo albums and show her every aspect of her life and how beautiful her life really is and how wonderful her children are, she'll stop using. And everything that I did to get my daughter to stop using, it didn't work. And everything my daughter did to stop using, it didn't work. And that's because both of us had not got to a point yet where we were truly, truly powerless. The first step of the 12 steps is admit you're powerless and that your lives have become unmanageable. My life was certainly unmanageable, and so was my daughter's. But either of us could admit we were powerless. About 2 or 3 months before my daughter died, that's when the powerlessness kind of hit me. Like, no matter what I do, I can't help her. And no matter what a good mother I am, what a terrible mother I am, regardless of her children, regardless of anything in her life, there is nothing I can offer her, give her, or do for her that's going to make her stop. She's going to have to stop on her own, and she's going to have to get to a point where she's tired and exhausted of ideas too. So in the last few months of my daughter's life, I hit that powerless point and I let her go. And one of the things I started doing instead is that every single night I prayed for my daughter. We prayed for her a couple times a day. I wanted her to still get to a point where she could be okay and she could be better. And even up to the last 2 weeks of her life and the last time that I saw her, I even told her that I loved her. I missed her. I didn't know who she was anymore, and I hadn't seen my daughter for a long time. And I deserved to have my daughter. Her kids deserved to have a mother, and she deserved to have herself. And that she needed to go to treatment or she needed to go to a hospital. She still was not ready to let go and accept that. And that's how the madness all goes on for so long. Nobody looks at their baby when they're 13, 14 years old and say, they're experimenting with drugs. I guess it's not going to be that bad. They'll stop. They all stop. Kids all experiment. All the things we do to justify it. And when they get into abuse stage and they're coming home and they're intoxicated, they're using more frequently. They're using all the time. We still deny that it's going to be that bad. We still think that they're somehow going to stop. And I think throughout the whole stage of my daughter's addiction, I played that bargaining game. That if I just do this and this, and I say this and that my daughter will stop using. I never put the responsibility on her. I put it on me. I was sure that if I changed something about myself, that my daughter was going to be okay. And she never was. And I never was until I got to a point where I realized I couldn't help her.